Hello everyone, and I hope that you're well. So today I thought I would show you how to make homemade chips. This is something I love to eat. I snack on it quite a lot, but homemade chips are very easy to make and taste so much better. So I thought I'd just show you how to make it, as it's late night here and I just fancy a little snack. So let's get started with the ingredients. Okay, so for today's ingredients I'm going to be using one medium-sized potato, as I'm not making too many crisps today. I thought I would just show you how to make them, but you are welcome to use as many potatoes as you need, especially if you are catering for lots of people. You can add more to this recipe. But for one potato I'll be using about half a teaspoon of salt, similar half teaspoon of pepper, black crushed pepper, and one lime, because I'm going to be having salt, pepper and lime as my flavouring today, but you are welcome to use whatever flavouring you like, perhaps salt and vinegar or any other popular flavour of crisps, or just try something new. So let's get started with the process now. Okay, so let's start by peeling the potatoes. This is totally optional. You can just leave the skin on. It actually creates quite a nice effect with your chips. It kind of just gives a little bit of colour and sort of texture, and just makes it look a bit more sort of rustic. So you are welcome to keep the skin on if you want. It's also got a lot of nutrition in there as well. So it is worth keeping that in. But for my preference today, I'm just going to quickly peel this potato. And then I will be chopping them into small fine pieces, which I'll show you how to do that in a mo. I should also just mention that we'll be deep frying the crisps today. So it's important to have enough oil to deep fry. You can use leftover oil or fresh oil. I tend to use the same oil that I've used for other fried food that I like to cook at home, such as pakoras or samosas, and it's totally fine to use this again. So I will heat that up in a moment, ready for us to fry the crisps. So the potato is nicely washed. I am now going to begin making the crisps. So we want a nice thin crisp, so we need to chop the potato as finely as possible. You can use a knife to do this if you're very skilled, but you could also use a grater as well, which is a little bit easier and gets a nice thin crisp. Then you could also use things like a food processor or anything else you have to hand, really. So I'm just going to gently begin to grate the chips now. If I just show you, they've come out nice and thin, so that's going to fry really nicely. So this is the kind of sort of length you want. You can see it's a little bit sort of see-through. This is perfect size to use. So I'm just going to continue now until all the potato is nicely grated. Okay, so just a couple minutes later and we have some nice finely chopped potato here. So what we're going to do just before we fry them is, I've got a bowl of water here, and I'm just going to put all the potato into the water, and I'm just going to give them a little wash so that we can remove as much starch as possible, and it'll just make it a little bit nicer when it comes to the taste and the frying process. So I've used a glass bowl so that you can see how much starch can be released. So I'm just going to gently move this around, and you can see already that the water has gone a little bit more of a cloudier colour. So I'm just going to continue doing this for a few minutes just to remove that starch and give it a little wash, and it'll just make it a little bit tastier. But I'm very excited already to eat these. Okay, so I've been washing them for about a couple of minutes, and I think most of the starch has now been removed. So I'm going to just drain the water. Okay, so I've just drained the water and also given them another little rinse so they are nicely washed. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to dry them just by lining some tissue paper, some kitchen paper, and I'm going to just pop them onto the kitchen paper and sort of just help them dry out a little bit. Just so that it's nice and crispy to fry, and the water doesn't sort of react too much with the oil. So just give them a little pat down just to help remove that water. So help make them nice and crispy. So I'm just going to repeat this process until they are all nice and dry. Okay, so I have now finished drying off the potatoes. They are nice and dry, and I've transferred them to a new bowl just so that they were not getting mixed up with the water that I'd gathered from the bottom in the other see-through bowl. So I'll pop that to one side. They are now ready. And I've also added some oil to a pan, and I've now put that onto a medium to high heat just ready to heat up. And the last bit of preparation is just adding a bit of kitchen paper to a board so that when they are nice crispy fried, I can transfer them over here. So I will now wait for the oil to heat up and we will continue cooking. Okay, so I'm just going to test to see if the oil is hot enough. Perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to gently add some of the potato now. I think I might do this in 2 batches, so I'll make this lot first. So we're just waiting for them to go a nice golden crispy colour and texture, just like we eat from a packet, I suppose. But I think this is really nice, and I think actually because they're different shapes, slightly different sizes, it just makes them feel more homemade. And I just think that gives them a real nice bit of character. So I'm just going to let this cook now, or fry, and I'll get back to you when they are nice and golden. Okay, so just a few minutes later, and some of them are starting to colour. I don't know if you can see, they're going that nice sort of brown crispy colour. So I'm just probably give them another minute or so, just for the rest to start to go a nice colour, but I think they are looking like they're nearly done, and you can tell they've firmed up and they're just becoming nice and crispy as well, so it's looking good. I love the smell of fried potato. Reminds me of chip shops, and it's just, yeah, all fried food, which I love. Just gently giving them a little turn now and again, just so that they fry evenly. But I think they are now ready to place onto our paper towel. So second batch going in. So they are beginning to catch again on the side, so they're going that lovely goldeny colour. It's up to you the kind of sort of colour you like, whether you like yours really nice dark brown colour, or sort of more of a lighter colour like this. At this point the water has been evaporated, they've dried out nicely, so we just you just wait for the kind of colour you like, but they have got that sort of firm consistency to them, which is great. I'm just going to fry mine for another minute, I think. Just keep them moving, and then I'll pop them onto the side. Okay, so the crisps have been cooling for probably about 10 to 15 minutes. So you can hear they've gone really nice and crispy and cooled. So it's now time to flavour them. This is entirely up to you, however you'd like to flavour them. But I'm going for quite simple flavours, some lime, salt and pepper. So I'm just going to take them into a bowl, help me mix them together. And you can actually see from this bit of tissue how much oil has absorbed. So that's really great. So it just helps to crisp them up a little bit more. So that's why I use this technique. Okay, let's start dressing. So I've got some salt and pepper. Start with the salt. And some pepper. I love the heat of black pepper, it's lovely. And some lime. So I'm just going to squeeze this on. If you're using something like lime, it's good to let the lime be absorbed, so you might just want to let this rest again in a little while. But now I'm just going to mix these together. You can smell that fried potato, the lime and the black pepper. Going to do a little bit on the side. And a little bit more lime, I think. Okay. Don't they look inviting? I think it's now time to try them. Okay, so it has come to that time where I get to try them now. So let's begin. Got such a nice golden crispy colour. Which one to choose? Here we go. I hope you heard that crunch, because there was definitely a crunch there. Oh, they're very nice. You know, these actually taste familiar to me in terms of salt and vinegar, and because we've obviously used salt and we've used an acidic lime, it's kind of giving off that sort of salt and vinegar vibe, which I feel like is really nice, because if you've got, you know, you've gone to the effort of making homemade crisps, and I feel like, you know, you could have easily gone out and bought a branded version, but I feel like when you're making something like this at home, it's nice to have something that's got that sort of familiar taste, but it's your own and it's a bit different. And that's where I feel like using things like lime for the acidity and the salt really gives it sort of a unique flavour, a homemade taste, but actually is familiar to people who love salt and vinegar. For me, that is a perfect balance of pepper, salt and lime. So I recommend you try this combination, because it is really, really, really nice. But you could try any other combination you like in terms of flavours, but maybe you'll give it a go and make crisps whenever you fancy eating them next time. But I hope that you enjoyed this video. Do check out our social media. You can check out all of our other recipes on our website, which is www.spicyqissah.co.uk, and also you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram as well. So we will see you again very soon next time with another recipe. So take care and have a nice evening. Bye for now.